the dates, and then we'll just go from there as we get them in.
Sounds great.
Lord, hey, we're live, brother. Hit that mute button for a minute. I'm gonna introduce us here. What's going on inside the no, this is not the Inside Edge podcast, guys. You got to jump on and get the Inside Edge podcast. Edwin and I do a podcast. It's called Edge Global. Give it a shameless plug there, E. We've been doing a lot of stuff today, man. I know you've been coaching for 17 hours straight. I've been doing also a lot of the same. Guys, wherever you're joining us from inside the LFI Nation, what's up, guys? Somebody on Facebook said, what's up, guys? Hey, guys. How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all jumping on this evening. No matter where you're joining us, whether it be live on this stream or whether it be on one of the social platforms or whether it be in the dozen-plus countries they're in and over 50,000-plus users that the LFI Shuffle team has Guy in the Yard built here. We just want to welcome you guys in. I hope that tonight you're on your Wednesday middle of the week, you know, the hump day thing they call it. I hope you guys really are taking a step back. And if you're watching this, remember, don't forget about this. Hey, Shelly, how you doing? Don't forget, make this about you. We're going to spend the next 15 or 20 minutes, and we're going to be giving you some stuff that really, it's a process. It's a benchmark training that we use to live our life by design. It's something that we can just put up and check ourselves every day. How are we doing? Are we measuring up to what we expect? Are we inspecting what we expect from ourselves? Hey, so that's what I want you guys to do. But you got to do this every single time we come. You got to make it about you, because I say this over and over again, and Edwin's so great. He says it much more eloquently than I do. But if you don't take care of you, you ain't going to be able to take care of everybody else like you need to. So that's just a good old-fashioned, straight-up horse sense. So tonight, what I want you guys to do as we go through this, make it about you. Think about your week. Think about where you are right now and what's important now. Now, the trust process, a lot of you guys, we introduced it at the end of last year. We're going kind of back through it. The trust process is our life process. It's a sales process. Initially, Edwin Britt, the amazing Edwin, had the opportunity to share the stage. Maybe you do, maybe you don't know Zig Ziglar. I recommend you go YouTube him, look him up, listen to him on your workout in the morning. You guys will have a better than good day if you listen to Mr. Ziglar. He was a fantastic mentor, Edwin, and I know he meant a lot to you. I know he did a lot for you, but the process that Edwin was able to mentor into this gentleman, he impacted 250,000, a quarter of a billion lives is what he impacted over his lifetime, a quarter of a billion with a B. Edwin shared the stage with him. Edwin personally mentored under him. And what Edwin brought to mindset of a champion is a clarity and a validation to me of how I've lived my life of a process. And that process is based around trust. So we have to have these little acronyms, me personally, to live by. So even the other day, Edwin, we were talking to ER. We had a little a glitch in some technology, and he couldn't get back to his computer in time. And he's like, "Oh man, I'm not." He was just like, he was a little flustered about, "Oh, dude, it's gonna be 15 minutes. I'm with my kids right now. We took them out for a quick thing. It's on a Saturday too. I'm sorry, I'm not there." He wanted to be there. I could feel it in his voice that he just wanted to be there as soon as he could. I said, "Hey, bro, no big deal. We got this. Make sure you live in AMP right now." You know, what's AMP? Attitude, moment, process. These little things keep me on track. Edwin has given me these things to be able to lean into when I get flustered. Where am I right now? I'm POGO. Yeah, well, AMP, attitude, moment, process. POGO, the person, the obstacle, the goal. I mean, the person, organization, the goal, the obstacle. What do these things mean? I know it gets a little bit overwhelming for you, but I want you guys to take a step back right now. We're going to talk about the you in the trust process. The trust process is TRUST. Think, plan, and prepare. That's T. Relate, uncover the need, offer a solution, take massive action. So as we go through this, it gives you a chance to just take a deep breath. Where am I right now? Where am I right now at this moment with my relationships, in my business? Right now, we're going to talk about tonight uncovering need and communicating the right way, because Edwin, this is where it all comes together, and you handle it so well. And it's not exactly in that order every single time. It's a little different each time that we go through it. You may be up, but it does give you just one process to lean into and measure yourself with and say, where am I right now? So I want you to jump in there and kind of start talking a little bit about the you. Thank you, everybody, for Gary, what's up, from Newberry, South Carolina. You got you a South Carolina boy, baby.
Newberry College there. Newberry's a great town.
Yeah, great town.
Hey,
Where are you from,
guys, where am I from? Wilmington, North Carolina, man. Greatest state, greatest city in the country. we live in the greatest country, greatest state, greatest city. Hey, Michael, when we think about the you and the process, right, and the trust process, really we talk about it when we think about sales as a client-centered process. When we think about it from a leadership, it is a tell me more leadership process, right? Still, it's your internal and your external client. You got to have the same process because you need to uncover that need. And we think about what selling is about. And so oftentimes we get things out of order and or influence, and we focus sometimes on the wrong thing. So sometimes it's said like this, Michael: subscription without diagnosis is malpractice in any form, right? Think about that for a minute. And why is that important? Because if we start offering our solution, or we listen only to respond in whatever dynamic, what we're all really doing is we're offering a subscription. Here's how you fix this, without a proper diagnosis. Michael, I'm going to just give you a chance to respond to that, because I can just see in your eyes, man, you see the relevance of making that connection with people and making it about them and what they want to accomplish. And that's really what the you is about and what listening is about. And I'll come back based on your.
Yeah, and that's great. And that prescription that we're talking about is the process, right? That's not a proper you have to diagnose it, and then you use the prescription, the process to get there. And just like today, we were having a conversation with a customer about a shuffle customer. They're bringing in tens of thousands of people in the organization. They want to bring them in and onboard them. And he's asking questions, and it's really hard not to jump into the product. And for me just to go, let me just give you the solution. I want to tell you what Shuffle does. It does all these amazing things, because then I know what to do for him as far as the onboarding process for his team. I know what to do to show the products and to present the products. I knew all this stuff. I had to take a deep breath, and I really listened, and I checked, where are we right now? We're in the relating stage, and then he started talking about, well, what is this? How's this not different than this? This other product does this, and he started going into the product solution. This product does this, this, this. How is yours better? And he's talking about the actual fundamental. Listen to this, guys. He's talking about the actual fundamental of how the technology works. So instead of me talking about tech, I started buying the product, started relating to him is what I started doing. I started taking the product out of it, and I started talking about his customer, his internal customer and his external customer. And I said, think about what your internal customer needs. They need to be trained on the solutions. That's what they need to do. So this Shuffle is a bridge that allows you to put the dialogue in front of the customer that they want to hear. Because let me tell you something, Rodney, people don't buy your products and services for what they do. They buy your products and services for what they'll do for them. And you guys have a broad range of products. So if you try to throw it all at them, just like you said, they get confused, and a confused customer never buys. But if you listen to their needs, you're going to be able to give them a shuffle card that explains that product that satisfies their need, their want, what they need. So they're seeing what they need, and they don't get confused. Pressure goes down, and their confidence goes up. So when we're in the you, Edwin, I know you're going to talk a couple other things about this. For that prescription that you're talking about, we got to listen. And you got it, because I got really excited for a second there, and I pulled myself back in. And I got one other story that happened today also. We'll talk about it in a minute, but that's what I did right there, because I let him know that we have a solution that takes care of his customer for what they need.
And that's the big disconnect, Michael, that well-intended people are committing almost every single time. I've been training and doing this for a long time, and you and I have talked about this, and for the audience just to understand, with people from all economic backgrounds. People are making $500,000 to $1 million. People are just trying to get started. And fundamentally, when they really take a step back and look, they admit, I really am mistaking or stepping over the most important step in the process. So if you just see trust, and it's in the chat screen, TRUST, that U, if you notice, is specifically in the middle of the letter, right? That is the bridge between where you are. Think about the T and R between where you are and where you want to go, right? And the S and T on the other side of what you want to accomplish. The U, therefore, is the most important step, because you must go through that. We have to spend time really reflecting and creating that light bulb moment of need. When people understand need and can articulate that, what they're trying to accomplish and what's preventing them from achieving that, now we've changed the dynamic. So what happens is we jump too quick. We hear to reply, and therefore we communicate our solution, and we're leaving out the problem. You see that, guys? When you jump through the you and don't focus on that and don't bring yourself and your client or prospect or family member or person you're leading to that point, then we're skipping the most important step. So what are we saying tonight? Take a step back and look at how you're communicating with people. Are you reflectively listening? Are you asking high impact questions? Here's what happens. We relate, we hear what we want to hear, and we jump to the S, and then we get to what that leads us to is a really weak last T, a really weak ask. We never really establish the value because we never really establish the need. We never illuminate the need and create this collaborative vision between, okay, this is your problem. This is what you're trying to accomplish. This is what my solution will do for you. Now let's take massive action together. Now we implement this. If you just will step back and think about that, Michael, I know you practice it every day now. It permeates every communication we have as business leaders, as business owners. We get home and we communicate with our spouse. We hear one thing and we say, oh, this is what you got to do. You got to take the time to lean in, because last point, people make decisions based on their feelings, their motives, their beliefs. Our job as a salesperson is really to listen reflectively and be able to tie that back to what they're trying to accomplish and the obstacles preventing them from getting there.
Man, listen to what he just said. I want you to come back here in just a second, Evan, real quick, but listen to what he said. Our job as a salesperson. That's not your job as just a salesperson. First of all, we're all in sales, right? You've heard that before. We've all heard that. I'm selling my kids that I'm a good dad, my wife not to kick me out. I'm a good husband, right? And as a leader, you do the same thing as a leader. Think about every single aspect. That is so important to you, to uncovering the need, truly listening, not to respond, listening to, not to react, but listening to respond in the right way, listening to uncover what they really need, and asking those high impact questions, Edwin, like what I think I heard you say was. So Edwin, I want you to talk about just a minute about that listening piece. Come back to it. And do people really think you're really listening? Whether you are or you're not, or whether you're really engaged, are they? And then I'll give you a real quick tip, man. It stays with you right here. This is good. If you're a leader, if you're anywhere and you're talking at a physical conversation back and forth, if you're doing this and saying, yeah, I got you. What's going on, man? Oh, man, if you're with your kids, if you're with your spouse, if you give it down at your phone like that, you want to be high impact action, not high impact questions. When you're trying to uncover somebody's need and talk to them, if somebody walks in my office or they say something to me, or if we were out on property today on these 30 acres and there was 2,000 cars and it was an auction rep driving around, and I'm on the phone, a guy comes up that's one of our managers, not directly to me, but he comes up to me and starts asking me a question. My phone is in my pocket. I pull it out and say, hold on a second, Michael Parks. And I turned it off, stuck it back in my pocket, and I said, what you got? Now that was, verbal. I mean, that was audible. That was visual, not audible, verbal. It was visual. He saw that. And what did he see? He saw me turn my phone off. He saw me put it in my pocket. So whose attention does he have? 100% of my attention. He knows I'm in it about him. And I was truly listening to uncover his need. I repeated back to what he said. We took a walk to where it was a little quieter so he could understand. And those 3 phone calls I missed in that 15 minutes, no big deal. Called him back. He had no idea, but he knew that I was really had his best interest at heart, which made him be able to open up to me and felt like I knew what was going on. So what we did, Edwin, is what you say. We came together and we took the journey to the solution together.
Michael, you bring up some great points, and I hope the audience will really lean in and listen to that. Think about what Michael just said. He was referring to an internal customer of his, someone that worked inside of the same organization that he worked in. So often in sales, we think about how do we get more efficient in our external customers, those people we take our products to, hoping to give them our products, and so they give an exchange of monetary reward back, right? But our internal customers, Michael, as you and I collaborate and coach with people around the world, I think we would both agree that more than 50% of the challenges that are expressed to us, their frustrations, aren't their ability to go outside to their external customers, but it's the internal conflict and disconnects that they have. I spoke with someone today at my last coaching call that was directly related to that. She said, I've really got some things to share with you today. And she was looking for my perspective, looking for me to validate and help educate something that was going on internally with her leader, right? And the reaction is that her leader had missed the you in the process and jumped right to the solution and gave a dismissive solution. And here's the end result of that. And this is what's going on with all of your businesses too, if you're not tight on this, is you're creating an inefficiency. So therefore, rather than motivation and inspiration and trust, which should be a byproduct between a leader and a performer, there was disconnect, there was frustration, there was negative energy. In other words, inefficient. And now waiting for the next meeting with all this trepidation. Think about how far that takes us off the target. You add that in exponentially on a daily and weekly and monthly basis and multiply that times the people you're working with and for. Guys, we're talking about not hundreds of thousands, not millions, but billions of dollars lost every single year simply because people haven't implemented a client-centered process that looks and feels like trust. Michael?
Client-centered process. Client-centered process that looks and feels like trust. Who's your client, guys? Remember, I told you in the beginning, I always want on these calls, I want you to make it about you, your organization. How can it impact your family, your team? If you're trying to build a team, think about the you. How many uncovered missed opportunities of conversations you haven't had when you're building your team? Think about that. Your client is the internal customer, your people, your team that work for you, work around you, work for you. 360 leadership, right? You manage up, you manage down. Those people, those conversations are internal. External, you know what, Ray? You said it so great. Really don't. People could go get more business. They can go get more customers. Now, they complain about the leads and calling on this guy and doing this. But, man, you really can. It's a process, and people have been coached up to that process and those products. But think about your internal that we miss. Internal, your kids, your family, all those things internally. I just want these guys to take the time to make it about other people and don't react like, oh, yeah, I got your solution. No, take your time. Listen, make them feel like they were heard. And the very last thing, E, the listening piece. There's 3 types of listeners. I want you to hit on that really quickly, and then I'll come back. We'll wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So the best art form of listening, which is the most neglected skill in home and business today, is the ability to reflect. Yeah.
I wasn't listening. Say that one more time. Slow it down.
Yeah. The most neglected skill in home and the business today, given we have all these tools for communication now, we have lost the art of truly listening, being present. It's the goldfish mentality. So, and the best form of listening is to become a reflective listener, a tell me more listener. So we typically listen 3 ways. We listen to debate. Oh, yeah, let me hear. You said this, let me tell you that. We dismiss. Oh, yeah, but you don't really know. You're a kid, right? Come back when you've got a little more experience or, oh, really? Tell me more. Tell me more. And you've heard me say it before, Michael, but Sam Walton, who was brilliant, he knew what he knew. But he walked into all of his stores when it was still a nickel and dime store to his managers and said, I know what I know. Tell me what you know. Man, if you could approach every relationship you have this week intentionally, just seeking to know a little bit more about the person you're interacting with. Think about how powerful that would be, exponentially built up through time. It would transform every relationship you have. Sometimes we make it too hard, Michael. It's really as simple as being intentional and being accountable, which doesn't come from someone else, but right here in the mirror.
Brother, that's a perfect. I mean, I know I've heard it. You're like hearing your favorite album. You got 10 out of the 12 songs you like. I like all 12 of Edwin's songs, all 100 of Edwin's songs. I listening to them, and every time I catch myself watching with my mouth a little slack jawed. So I really appreciate that. And what he said, how many people are really shorting you? Think about you. Not just the you, but you personally. How much are you not listening to yourself, or are you listening to yourself? The negative self-talk. That's not reality. The reality is you're capable of more. The reality is the reason you don't do more is because you hold yourself back. You can't do this later. And this story came up today, and I thought it was kind of funny, and I hadn't said it in a long time, but I was talking about the lid. I said, you got to raise your lid. What do you mean raise your lid? I was like, oh, man, you hadn't heard about the flea circus. Yeah, and he's like, they can really actually train fleas. Some of you may have heard this before, but here's how they train fleas in a flea circus, because fleas can jump around everywhere. You throw them in a jar, you put a lid on that jar, You set them down. They start jumping. They want to try to jump out of the jar. They keep hitting the lid of the jar. And eventually they realize they want to stop getting that headache. So they just jump right under the jar. You take the jar off. They will never jump any higher than that ever again. People, life, everything's going to hit you right in the mouth and say, you can't do it. You're not good enough. What are you thinking? Don't try that. That's going to hurt. You're going to go out and you're going to fail a couple of times, and you're going to try to do it a few more times, and then you're going to quit. When you understand it's hard, most people pull back, and we never go any further. If you stay in the trailer park, I talked about it last time, you're always going to be in the trailer park. You have to go beyond it. You have to go get lost to find your way. Do you hear what I'm saying? I mean, I was frustrated talking to somebody because they put themselves in a jar, they put that lid on it, and I couldn't stand all the negative self-talk. You guys got to get out of your own way. You're the one that needs to uncover your own need to align with yourself and what your true goal is, because God did not put you here to suck. We are going to fail. That's good. Failing is not who we are. It's an event. It's an event. It's just like you see elephants in a circus. They have this one band around their big old huge leg. That's it. And they walk around with just that band on their leg. Because when they were babies, they had that big old metal band and they had a big chain into a stake, and they tried and tried and tried to get away, just like the flea tried to get out. What happened? They realized they could never get away. So they stopped trying. And as long as they feel that, they're not going to try to do anymore. We are humans, guys. We can evolve from that. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what you've done. I mean, I'm telling you, we can swap poor old boy stories all you want. I've had the plum disease. I've had my cootie shot, been vaccinated, and had to move forward with it. Poor old little me. I've had it all. I've done it all. Feel it even at this age. I've had it. Just like a horse. When I'm trying to break a horse and they're bucking like crazy, eventually I will break that horse's wheel and it'll do what I want. You don't let people do that to you, because I'm telling you, I don't care where you are, how old you are, there's more we have to do. And there's no reason we should sit back and let people put these things on us and make this false narrative that's put into our head by the outside world. Somebody's going to be successful. Somebody's going to build a winning team. Somebody's going to make the $1 million. Somebody's going to design their life, and they're going to live their legacy that's listening to this right now. They're not going to just leave it. They're going to live it, because they're going to realize that time's all we have left. Edwin says it better than anybody else. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. Don't let anybody push your lid down. Blow it off. 86,400 seconds. When it's gone, it's gone. Are you taking the time to be intentional? Is your win list there? Are you using trust, plum, AMP, 24-hour rule? All these acronyms that we roll in and Edwin rolls into us is for a reason. It's simple. Now you got to take the time to learn it. It works if you do, right, Edwin? I just want you guys to know tonight, man, how much we appreciate you. Thank you, Guy and Edwin and everybody else jumping on, or Kathy, Inman. I see you there. I see a lot of Facebook people. I don't know your names, but I want you guys to know that you are designed for accomplishment. You're engineered for success. You are designed with the seeds of greatness. It's up to you to cultivate those seeds. It's up to you to go get the help that you need. Like my dad used to say, son, if you need help, ask for it. And if you don't, prove it. So let's get after it. One way or another, let's get after it. I'm with you guys. We can help you. Reach out, talk to me. Have fun. Play hard. Above all else, make it count and be nice, like my granny always said. People don't always remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel, guys. So be out. Like I said, make them count. Edwin, appreciate you, brother.
Always a pleasure.
See you guys. Late.